There is a war happening right now, not outside, not in the streets, not between countries. It is happening inside you right now as you watch this. There are two voices in your head. One says, get up, try, push, you can do this. And the other says, what's the point? You'll fail anyway, just rest, tomorrow. And every single day, you are choosing which voice wins. The scary part, most people never even realize this war is going on. They just lose it slowly, quietly, without ever fighting back. This is the story of a boy who almost lost that war, and what saved him was one silent moment. His name was Aryan, 24 years old, not rich, not poor, just stuck. He had a small room in a crowded city, a job that paid just enough to survive, a phone he scrolled through every night until his eyes burned. From the outside, Aryan looked fine. He smiled when people asked how he was. He said, I'm good, things are going well. But inside was a different story. Every morning, Aryan woke up with a heavy feeling in his chest, like something was sitting on him, like the day was already too much before it even started. He had dreams, big ones. He wanted to start something of his own. He wanted to prove something to himself more than anyone else. But every time he sat down to begin, the thoughts came, you're not smart enough. Other people are already ahead of you. What if you try and it doesn't work? And so he didn't begin. Day after day, week after week. He waited for confidence, for the right time, for some sign that it was okay to start. But that sign never came. One night, Aryan was sitting alone in his room. The lights were off. His phone was in his hand. He was scrolling, not looking for anything, just scrolling, and suddenly he stopped. He saw a post from an old classmate, someone he used to sit next to in school. That person had just launched their own business. People were congratulating them, hundreds of comments, smiling photos. Aryan stared at the screen for a long time, and then something cracked inside him, not in a dramatic way, not tears, not anger, just a quiet, cold feeling. That could have been me. He put his phone down. He sat in the dark, and for the first time in a long time, he was honest with himself. He hadn't been resting, he had been hiding, he hadn't been waiting for the right time, he had been running away from the fear of trying. He thought he was being careful, but really, he was just afraid of failure, afraid of judgment, afraid of starting and then stopping, afraid of finding out that maybe he wasn't as capable as he hoped, and that fear had dressed itself up as patience, as wisdom, as I'm just not ready yet. But it wasn't wisdom, it was a lie, a comfortable, quiet, dangerous lie. Aryan sat in that dark room and felt the full weight of the years he had wasted, not wasted by laziness alone, wasted by a war he didn't even know he was fighting. The next morning, Aryan went to see his uncle, an old man, simple life, small house. He wasn't rich, he hadn't changed the world, but there was something about him, a stillness, a kind of peace that Aryan had always noticed but never understood. Aryan sat across from him and said, Uncle, how do you always seem so calm? How are you not afraid of things going wrong? His uncle looked at him for a moment. Then he got up slowly and walked to the kitchen. He came back with two glasses. One was full of still, clean water. The other, he shook. He stirred it with his finger. The water inside spun and swirled and became cloudy. He placed both glasses in front of Aryan, and he said, Which glass can you see through clearly? Aryan pointed to the still one. His uncle nodded. Your mind is like this water, Aryan, when it is always moving, always thinking, always worrying, always spinning. You cannot see anything clearly. Every decision looks dangerous. Every step looks like a mistake. Every dream looks impossible. But when you learn to make it still, even for a moment, you see clearly, you see what is real and what is just fear. You see that most of what you were afraid of was never even there. Aryan stared at the two glasses, and something shifted inside him, not a big explosion, not a sudden motivation, just a quiet clarity, like a fog lifting, just slightly, just enough. On his way home, Aryan walked slowly. He didn't put his earphones in. He didn't scroll his phone. He just walked. And he thought about all the mornings he had woken up already defeated, all the ideas he had killed before they even breathed. All the times he had chosen the noise of distraction over the discomfort of actually trying. And he realized something. The war inside him wasn't between success and failure. It was between the person he was and the person he knew he could be. One of them was loud, comfortable, familiar, safe. The other was quiet, uncertain, scary, new, and every day he had been choosing the loud one, not because it was better, but because it was easier. He stopped walking. He stood still on the pavement. People moved around him. The city was loud, but inside, for the first time in months, it was quiet, and in that quiet he made a small promise to himself, not a big dramatic goal, not a perfect plan, just a promise. Tomorrow morning I will begin, not perfectly, not confidently, just begin. That was enough. That one decision made in silence was more powerful than 100 motivational videos because it didn't come from hype. It came from truth. Here is what Ryan learned, and maybe what you need to hear too. The war inside you is real. Every single day you are either feeding your fear or feeding your courage. You feed your fear when you scroll instead of start, when you overthink instead of act, when you say, "I'll do it tomorrow" for the 100th time. You feed your courage when you sit in silence, when you face the uncomfortable thought instead of running from it, when you take one small step, even while afraid. You don't need to win the whole war today, you just need to win this moment, this one, right now. Because the person who keeps losing these small moments slowly becomes someone they don't recognize, and the person who starts winning them, even one at a time, slowly becomes someone they're proud of. The battle isn't out there, it never was. It's always been here, in the silence, inside you. Ryan did begin the next morning. Was it perfect? No. Was he confident? Not really. Did he feel fear? Every single day. But he began, and that beginning, that one quiet, brave, imperfect beginning, changed everything. Not because the world suddenly became easy, but because he changed. He stopped waiting to feel ready. He started choosing to be real, and the war inside him, it didn't disappear, but for the first time, he knew how to fight it. So I want to ask you something, not out loud, just to yourself. Which voice have you been feeding? Because right now, in this moment, you have a choice, the same choice Ryan had, and the same choice every person who ever changed their life had to make. Will you keep losing the silent war, or will you finally fight back?